Okay, before we go much further with talking about how to communicate with a professor, let me just go through a couple of quick pet peeves that I have that I know other instructors have too. Number one is the old, did you get my email question? Here's the thing, if I got your email, I responded to you, okay? Number two, if I got your email and I responded to you and you say, did I get your email? And I say, yes, I did, I responded to you. And then you say, oh, I haven't checked it yet. How are you supposed to know that I even got your email? Right? So if you're going to approach an instructor and ask them if they got your email, you should have checked your email first to see if they in fact did get your email, right? Let's talk about emailing your professor and giving them timely feedback. Most instructors will let you know their favorite way of contacting. So for my students, I have a couple apps that I use with them. Just because I only check my email once a day and I know that a lot of students want quick feedback. So I have a couple apps that go right to my phone. My email does not go right to my phone. And the other thing is instructors aren't just sitting at their computer waiting for you to email them because they're lecturing or they're in lab or in class or whatever. So the chances of you being able to have a back and forth email conversation are very, very low with an instructor. Usually instructors will say once a day and give them 48 hours to reply over the weekend. Just keep that in mind. Not all instructors have phones that you can call or offices because a lot of, especially those of you that go to community colleges, a lot of your instructors are going to be adjuncts, so they don't have an actual office phone number for you to call. So make sure you know how you can best get a hold of them. Talking to them after class is usually the best way. So what I always suggest my students to do is at the beginning of class, let me know that they want to talk to me at the end of class, right? And that sets up an expectation that you're going to now approach me at the end of class, and so I have to be ready for you to talk to me at the end of class. Whatever it is you're going to throw at me, you know, whether it's you're just letting me know about missing a class, or you're struggling with a certain topic, or you missed the notes, or whatever the thing is, right? That just kind of alerts me that we're going to be having a conversation. A lot of times at the end of class, instructors will have a line of students waiting for them, which is fine. And if you have a question that is a little more private, that's when you might, you know, approach the professor and just say, hey, I'm going to email you my concern, you know, so that we can then expect that email. Setting up and establishing really open communication with your instructor is really important. Now, I realize that not every instructor is going to be as open or as available for communication like I am. A lot of my students will hopefully my students would agree that I'm very approachable. I try not to be intimidating, and I'm very laid back. But I know not all instructors have that air about them. Some of them are a lot more intimidating or kind of uppity. So it's still important not to be intimidated by that and establish open communication, because you never know when you're going to need to let them know that, you know, your dog died or you had car trouble or whatever, and they're human too, right? So it's very important that you have that open communication with them. Now let's talk about communicating with your classmates, right? So the first day of class, and really your first day of lab where you're sitting together in a group setting, that is typically what lays the foundation for who you're going to be socializing with throughout the semester. No classes with some of the other students. This is going to be your main chance for interaction. So most of my students will establish friendships with the people that they're sitting with in their lab group. So I encourage you to do the same. If you're not in a lab class, just checking out the people next to you and exchanging phone numbers with them. It's much easier to text a classmate and say, hey, you know, I dozed off in lecture. My notes say this, it doesn't make any sense. What did you have here? Or did you catch when the next quiz is? Or, you know, did she change the due date for that? Or what? It's easier to contact and send a quick text message or Facebook message or Instagram message to someone in your class than to the instructor, just because your classmates are going to be more quick to respond. There are tons of apps you can use that you don't have to give everyone your actual phone number or your actual address. Apps, you know, like you can just be friends with them on Snap, or you can, there's an app called Remind that works the same way, where you can just message back and forth without exchanging personal information. And Remind is also an app where you you don't have like a profile. So it's not like a Facebook or an Instagram where people can kind of stalk you and get other information. Remind is a very neutral app. WhatsApp is another one that is very kind of neutral and just allows for conversation. So and then of course there's obviously group texts and things like that, which my personal preference, I hate group texts, but some people don't mind them. And as long as you set boundaries and you keep it professional on there, they can be great. A lot of my students really enjoy being on group texts with each other. Something from you. Do you have a story about maybe a funny conversation that you had with an instructor, or maybe an awkward classmate, or maybe you became best friends with someone in your class? I will say that because the courses that I teach, at least, I teach a biochem class, and then A&P 1, A&P 2. Those have kind of been my set courses over the past 10 years or so. Those courses all lead into each other. So the students that I have in one class tend to migrate into the next one, the next semester, and the next one the following semester. So by the end of that second or third class, they're all like best friends. And I feel like we're all on a level where we can just kind of joke and be kind of off the cuff with each other. And it really helps rapport, in the middle of the semester when you're like, okay, how can I make lung physiology fun? Having those kind of silly analogies and a rapport with your classmates and with your instructor can really help you survive the semester. So communication, collaboration, and having a connection with the people that are in your class can really make or break your semester. So be sure to like and subscribe. Check us out on our Dueling Professor online community. It's completely free, and it's a place where you can chat with other members that are taking the same courses as you. They're going through the same thing, and it's the ability for you to kind of share tips and tricks as well as get tips and tricks, right? We're all going through this together, so let's support one another. Have a good one. Bye.